Today we are at Randolph Air Force Base at the 2024 Air Show. They got the Thunderbirds, they got C5s, they got F-35s, F-22s, A-10s, AH-64s, AH-1Hs, etc., etc., etc. So I'm really excited about this because I haven't been to an air show in a few years and I love airplanes. So let's go check out the air show at Randolph Air Force Base 2024. think about that? That's pretty cool. They get really close, 18 inches away from each other at some points. That's nuts. Like, I don't even like being that close on the interstate, let alone in an airplane at like 400 miles an hour. That's nuts. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the likes. If you really like it and you want to follow me for more awesome places I go, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Especially coming up, I'm going to be going to Africa, I'm going to be going to Antarctica, going back to Europe. So appreciate you. while you're out here at the air show, they have games. They have a lot of food. They have a lot of different vendors out here. Texas State Police are out here. San Antonio Police Department's out here. They got a lot of recruiting efforts for the military here as well. This place is just huge. I think each flight line is about 2 miles long, and it forms an L pretty much. And they have one way going and one runway shut down. So just miles of aircraft and vendors and all kinds of cool stuff. So behind me is an A-10 Thunderbolt in Afghanistan. Those things lulled me to sleep at night. You'd hear the vroom, and then you hear vroom from the echo. So all night you hear vroom, 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 vroom. That's the baddest aircraft in the military. And it's definitely a soldier's friend for sure. Now, if you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe it. They even have a tank. How cool is that? So this truck right here is actually a maintenance truck. So you got your toolbox, everything over here, and it's the variant that's replacing the Humvee. Now, if you were wondering, because you saw when I did this, there was some tape with some numbers on it, like these. It got railroaded in, and that's the weight for it. So when they were doing the rail load for that and the tank, they're both from Fort Hood. And there's a FLA Humvee over here too. It's probably from Fort Hood. When they railed them up, you have to do all the weight for it and stuff like that. Or if they flew it in, then you got to do the weight for that as well. So that's what those numbers are. Oh, my Cadillac has arrived. So it's too far behind the trees right now, but a UH-60. So that's my little baby. Rappelled out of it, fast roped out of it, flew out of it, got shot at in it. Got a lot of memories, me and that UH-60. This UH-60 with a cross on it, that's a medevac. It's medical evacuation, medevac. It's the same variant as the UH-60s that transport troops, carry cargo, things like that, except for the configuration is just different to where it's set up for litters. There's no weapons that are on that due to the Geneva Convention. You can't have weapons on there. Oh, there's an Air Force one over here. So they use the Air Force ones are a lot for PJ's pararescue. Same variant, just a little bit of difference in them. They tend to go right into where action's at. Pilots have been dropped. They've parachuted out of their aircraft. So I wonder if they have a JP, a jungle penetrator. So we'll go check it out. couple cool things about the helicopter. If you notice to the left, closest to the pilot seat, there's like a little canister with a tube coming down it. That's where they would put the whether they have a 50 cal or 240, whatever they got up there, their weapon system. And then that tube is where the ammo goes down, and so it doesn't get caught up in the propellers. Right next to it, you saw a hook. That's where they hook up the hoist or the jungle penetrator or whatever they're doing to bring that pilot back up, or whoever they're going and rescuing. Like during Hurricane Katrina, a lot of those aircraft were used pulling people up off of the roofs. Oh, here's the good toys right here. Looks like an F-35 and an F-22. Check them out. A couple other aircraft I see, a KC-135. That's the gas tank in the sky. So as long as those are up and flying, then airplanes can go as long as they want. And there's actually, if I remember correctly, one that's dedicated to Air Force One. So whenever Air Force One is up in the air, there's one of those up in the air so they can refill Air Force One at any given time. I don't know if I'm going to wait for the line because it's a pretty long line to go in there, and I've been in several of them. So this right here is the boom. That's the fuel tank. It'll come out. If you've seen the videos, that's what gets into the airplanes at the nozzle or wherever their fuel point is. They can even refill helicopters. They have a special attachment for helicopters. It's really cool what they can do. And they can even use it for cargo. So I'm going to go on the other side. They have the other side opened up so you can see where they put the pallet positions. So back into my right, you'll see two aircraft that look like F-14s, but they're not. They're F-15s. Pretty close to being the same airframe, except for the F-15s are typically single pilot, whereas the F-14s are dual passengers. So you have your pilot and you have your RIO, radar intercept officer. But other than that, they look exactly alike. And if you can't tell from the air, they'll look the same until you can see that there's only one pilot seat in the cockpit. Now you got the A-10. That thing is phenomenal. On the wings, they have 3 different sections for pods. You can put fuel pods, you can put ammo pods, you can put rocket pods. You can just, like, it's just insane what you can do and configure with. It's like a Swiss Army knife of aircraft. Like, it's amazing what you can do with it. And what I love is right at the front of it, that Gatling gun. That's what makes that purring sound, like it's phenomenal. I love this aircraft. If you're an A-10 pilot and you're watching this video, I appreciate you. Like, and I'm envious of you too. I love the A-10. So it looks like we're down to about the last 4 or 5 aircraft. We've got a C-130, a C-5 Galaxy. We've got the KC-135 that we'll go through a little bit more, and then an F-16. And then it looks like they have a different Learjet or something. But oh, this isn't a C-130 per se. It's the bad one. It's the one that does close air support. You can fire a howitzer from 20,000 feet up in the air and put a round right on the quarter. It's phenomenal. This is one of the only few airframes that I can legally go onto that I've never gone onto, so I'm going to actually wait in this line. it's pretty cool. So I've been in A-10s, F-16s, F-15s, C-17s, C-5s, C-131s, C-141s, KC-135s, pretty much every helicopter variant, including the Huey and the Kiowa. So can't wait. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. So when we go inside the C-130, take a look at how not wide it is. So one time I was on a plane for about almost 6 hours, and there's middle row seats, and then we had the side seats up too. We had one vehicle, ammo, water and fuel on it, and there's probably about 75 of us in there. So you can just imagine how tight that was. But the vehicle was actually on the ramp, so it made some space for us. What do you think? Not a lot of space in there, right? So if you look at the floor, I took a little video with some hooks down there on the floor. That's where the center seat goes. One seat facing to the left, one seat facing to the right, or port or starboard, however you want to call it. So in that whole space, you would have 4 rows of seats. And on top of that, you have all of your gear, which sits on your lap. Your rucksack sits on your lap, and then your weapon, you keep that in between your ruck or around your ruck and your arms. You know, it's kind of not a very comfortable place, weapon pointing down. So we sat on that thing for like 6 hours going to a destination. Sucked. And then when we were flying out of Afghanistan one time, there was a very, very, very short runway. So they ramped it up, and you're just like sitting there going like this all over the place. And then you take it off, and then everybody's like, and then you go up. And then when you come down, depending on where you're going, they screw it in. That is not very much fun. It gets you a little nauseous. All right, the next stop is the C-5 Galaxy. Now, C-5 until 1980 was the largest cargo plane. I think it was 80, it may have been 84. And then Russia built their little cargo plane and it took over the record. But this thing is massive. Now, if any of you have been on a C-5 crew, I want you to answer this for me. Because in the Army, we have a rumor about this plane, about how when it gets to a certain destination, if the crew likes it, they'll find an issue with the aircraft, so they have to wait for a part to come in. Now, this kind of was what we were talking about, because in Alaska during fishing season, they flew in for some reason, and then it was down for maintenance. It had a flat tire for like a week, and then magically they pumped it up and it flew out. So I'm just kind of curious. Now, the C-5, they're based in 2 main locations, Dover Air Force Base in Dover, Delaware, and then Travis Air Force Base in California. Dover handles Europe, and then Travis handles the Pacific and Asia. But this thing is huge. You can be 6 foot tall, stand up with your arms up, and you cannot touch the engines. They're that big. You can fit a tank in here. It's just amazing how huge this is. Now, they may have flown the tank in here versus rail loading it. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know if they can land this at Fort Hood or Calaveras now, but let's go check it out. One cool thing about the C-5 is the front nose cone opens up as well as the tail drops off. Now, I'm going to show you these tires because these tires, they're probably about 4 foot high, maybe a little 3.5, but they're huge. Look at this. Now the C5, it replaced the C141. At the time, the C-141 was the largest cargo plane out there for the U.S. And then Lockheed Martin developed the C-5. Now this thing has numerous pilot positions. I don't remember how many pilot positions there are. There's 40 something, I think. Could be wrong, could be more. It's huge. What'd you think about that? It's huge. It's like a football field long almost. It's nuts. You can roll on or roll off depending on what the situation is. These things don't fly into combat areas. They'll fly into like Afghanistan. That was the last time I was on one of these. But they weren't in a defined, they won't go into like a defined combat zone where there's active stuff going on. They'll go a little bit further to the rear where it's safer. The C-17 and the C-130, they'll drop into those areas. But the last time I was on that, I didn't even fly on it. We had to load 6 remains onto that from people that were killed in Afghanistan, soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan from our deployment. So that was the last time I was on that plane. Well, off to see the KC-135. Now, if you remember earlier in the video, I was talking about showing you where the pallet positions would go. So if they're going to load a pallet, they'd put it there. Now, it's not really designed to be a cargo plane. They used to have the C-135. This is the exact same thing, except for it has a K, so it's KC-135. The K indicates that it's a fuel can. Not really, but that's the indicator. That's not the official thing about it. But so you can have some cargo in there, not really made for a cargo, but you can use it as a cargo and a fuel plane. So I couldn't record it at the same time, but there's a pull-up bar over there. I did 24. The Marines were like, wow, are you in the Corps? I was like, no, I was in the Army. They're like, wow, can I be your, they were asking me if I could be their hero. I was like, no. You free and the proud, I'll be all you can be. Have some crayons. If you know, you know. So pretty cool. They have a lot of activities out here for the families. They have bouncy houses and air slides and little, I don't even know what, they're like a merry-go-round but with a seat. I don't know, this is really interesting. But they got a lot of stuff out here. A lot of porta potties, a lot of food. They got ATMs out here. They got a lot of vendors out here. You can bring your own chair. You can buy a chair. If you forgot your sunglasses, you can buy sunglasses. They got several sunglass stations over here. But they thought about everything. They even have these little cool wooden displays.
State your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
Well, how did you like the air show? If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you served in the military, hit the like button. If you flew on one of the aircraft, hit the like button. If you were on a tank, that was pretty cool. You hit the like button. Helicopters, hell, just hit the like button. And if you want to hook a military guy up, a veteran up, you want to show some support for some veterans out there trying to do their thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button, please. I'm almost to 1,000, and that'll help me out a lot. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. Until next time, I'll see you on the next trip.